So at the end of each one of the stages, it's really, really important to have a crisp ask or a crisp action about how do you get to the next stage. So at the end of the first meeting, our crisp ask was, we'd like to have a second meeting deep dive. At the end of the second meeting, it was like, we'd like to do an eval, and in return for doing the eval, we'd like to make sure you bring your boss to the table for us to present the results. In that executive decision meeting, the ask was for the order. So one of the mistakes you sometimes see in go-to-market fit playbooks is the boundaries between them are kind of mushy, and customers just sort of wander through. Have a crisp ask and a crisp exit for every stage on your go-to-market playbook. It provides clarity, but more importantly, it actually gives guidance to your sales and marketing team for what to end on. Okay, this is an important little aside here, but one of the things in the early days of Mobile Iron is that we built Mobile Iron before sort of big recurring businesses. So as we started to sell more recurring businesses, more recurring customers, we realized we had a problem with our playbook because our playbook ended with win. The deal's done. In recurring businesses, it doesn't work that way. So one of the really important things to add to your go-to-market playbook is what happens after the win, which isn't really a win, it's really a commitment to you for like 12 months. You gotta make sure you onboard them. You bring up to live production. You get them to upsell and renew. And so it is okay to actually have a 2-page playbook where one is sort of like selling and getting customers to commit, and the second one is almost like a customer success playbook, which is how to get them onboarded, how to get them activated, how do you do the upsell, how do you do the renew. That is just an important part of a playbook in a recurring business. Okay, so we've done part one, which is lay out the physics of the sales journey, the customer journey across the top. We then worked on what do people say and do at each stage, and we find the wow. Now, this third part I'm going to talk about was something I only discovered by accident. And we did it basically sort of almost out of like project management, which is when you have the playbook, you have some deliverables that are there to sort of support each stage. And somebody's got to go build them, and you got to track them and make sure you're delivering them. So this became a really important part of the playbook, which is what does the rest of the company do at each stage to support that stage of the playbook? And so what I only realized in the rearview mirror was this was an incredibly powerful force to unify the company behind the playbook. Because now this cacophony of crap that everybody's being asked to do all the time, people are wondering how it connects. All of a sudden, they now understand how what they're working on connects to the go-to-market playbook. That is amazingly powerful. So whether it's in the marketing and lead gen, you're developing SEO and SEM campaigns, or putting together a call script for an ISR, inside sales rep, whether it's in the first meeting about doing a good PowerPoint presentation, or maybe instead doing a quick 2.5-minute animated video that replaces the presentation. Or it's going back to your engineering team and saying, we have to change the UI to elevate a wow we found that we didn't know about. Or it's doing an evaluation checklist in the eval stage that helps the customer understand what to test, and we know the product works for that. Or it's competitive analysis to be able to answer the questions during the executive meeting. All these different things that sort of you hear about and are part of go-to-market and just sort of feels like this endless to-do list of stuff, all of a sudden harmonizes and comes together. Because now the team knows how what they're doing fits to the go-to-market playbook. And only in the rearview mirror did I understand just how powerful and emotional tool that was. All right, now the fourth thing I'll talk about in terms of the go-to-market playbook is there's a free Benny that comes at the end, in addition to unlocking growth. The free Benny at the end is that if you build this the right way, your metrics come for free. Because you just watch customers and prospects move from stage to stage to stage in the customer journey. You learn why they got stuck, why they kept moving, and the metrics come for free, and they actually match your playbook. So the final result is a 1-page, maybe 2-page playbook. When you get it right, what happens is you'll see a sales rep pin it up on their cue wall right in front of them. You'll have it on your wall. Your marketing person will have it on their wall. It becomes sort of the lingua franca for how you talk about the business, how you talk about the go-to-market. You get this right, it's magic. So when you have go-to-market fit, it's all three of these things working together. You're on an urgent wave that answers the question, why now and not 6 months from now? You've picked your sales model. You get one somewhere on the spectrum. And the third thing is you built your go-to-market playbook to repeatably find and win customers. And some lessons learned having been through this twice and working with other companies going through this and talking to other entrepreneurs going through the same journey, that there's some tough lessons in terms of building a go-to-market fit playbook, which is your initial biases are powerful. Don't let sort of these feelings of heresy get in your way. The patterns are hard to see because you're so busy trying to chop down trees, sometimes you miss the forest. And I believe psychologically, one of the reasons why this is so hard is because it takes all these things that are implicit, that are happening inside your team, and makes them explicit. That's the power too, but it's also the challenge. You have to get things from the subconscious to the conscious. To get it right requires a lot of distillation and sacrifice, and saying no to some things that some people may be very passionate about are an important part of the story. And I'll leave you with an interesting challenge that you only will find later. And Claire is going to talk about this in her session. I had to live about this. Once you get go-to-market fit and you're kind of cranking, part of what's so amazing about this, it becomes muscle memory. It's just terrific. Guess what happens when you need to change it later? It's really hard. Because the power of it, it's become automatic. Rewiring muscle memory of a 50-person sales team and a 20-person marketing organization, and an entire company that's sort of geared around the way a go-to-market fit playbook works, it's hard. At Mobile Iron, we had to rewire go-to-market fit once and then the second time. The first time, it actually failed. We didn't do a good job. We just sort of created some new PowerPoint presentations, rolled out some training. Everybody sort of tried it and then drifted back. I was like, what do we do? So taking sort of lessons from like physical training where you have to sort of relearn muscle memory, sometimes it takes a little bit of shock value. I made every single sales rep and every single sales engineer and every single marketing person, 70, 80 people, present one-on-one to me the new story as if I was a customer. It was an incredibly inefficient use of my time in the micro, but at the macro, it was incredibly efficient, incredibly powerful. Sent a message that we're deadly serious about it. Everybody took it really seriously. It gave me a chance to see who got it, who didn't, and it worked. 90 days later, our muscle memory had changed.